dive into our first of a series of character deep dives into Overwatch 2. And I am super excited. I have my nephew actually, who's going to be joining us. He has been playing Overwatch for quite a long time, and he actually has reached some pretty amazing heights in regard to ranked play. Super stoked to have him. He goes by Coach Theory, and he actually has a Fiverr page up for folks that want to get lessons from him, tutoring. He'll review people's scrims. I'll let him go into all that stuff, but without further ado, just want to introduce our man here, Porter, or Coach
Yo.
Theory.
Yep. So I go by Coach Theory. I got into Overwatch actually when I saw John here playing it, when it first dropped, like the year it dropped. So I ended up getting it on my Xbox. I was like, this game's sick. I remember just being obsessed about it, like just all the different team synergies and like the possibilities of the game. So I played it a lot on console. Then I kind of stopped playing it, and then when Overwatch 2 was getting like really hyped, I got back into it on PC, really started grinding out the game, and then when Overwatch 2 dropped, just grinded up to Grandmaster and everything, and then that's when my coaching thing kind of started. I was like, I'm kind of into the game now. I feel like I have pretty good understanding, so I started coaching on Fiverr, doing other like community team stuff, like teams trying to play for tournaments and stuff. And then I ended up recently hitting top 500 in Tank. So yeah.
That's amazing, man. Well, I'm glad I could be the inspiration for the next generation,
Yeah.
because I certainly am not going to be able to achieve your level of play. And after playing with you the last couple of weeks, yeah, it's definitely the next level. I would say, where would people find you if they're interested in getting their own coaching lessons? And I do want to highlight
Yeah.
here, actually, and we'll put it in the description, but please comment on this video. Like this video, but please leave a comment. We're going to be giving away 3 free coaching sessions with Coach Theory, so you can get a 30-minute session with him where he'll walk you through whatever character you choose. He has a pretty immense breadth of experience with the game. But anyhow, sorry to cut you off there.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah. I would love to coach anybody interested. But yeah, so I do have a TikTok. It's just Coach Theo on TikTok. I do have a YouTube with some content on there as well. But yeah, so yeah, my main thing is coaching through Fiverr. You can just look me up on Fiverr, Coach Theory, and I have a variety of different packages you can choose from. But I just coach for any roles on any platform, and yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, great. Well, today we're actually going to dive into one character in particular. So, Genji, really fun to watch you play it. We were playing it last night. We do
Yeah.
intend to kind of go through every character in the series or the game itself. But we're going to start with Genji tonight. And so the thought is basically talking through, maybe if you want to kind of set the stage for what your opinion are, the strengths
Yeah.
of what Genji is, and we were talking a little bit about some theories that I was not familiar with earlier around the concept of diving, the concept of these other things. Do you want to
Yeah.
just give kind of a quick synopsis on what
Yeah.
Genji is and what he isn't, and that?
So yeah, so the main different compositions that people like to talk about in Overwatch are just gonna be dive, brawl, and poke. And the main differences are, poke is going to be playing for the difference. That's going to be like your Widowmakers, your Hanzos. You got brawl. That's going to be like your close range, sustainy type comps, like maybe like Reaper and Reinhardt. And then a dive are those just fast engagements that like try to take advantage of the backline and just high grounds and just playing fast. The main thing is engaging fast and disengaging fast. So that's going to be, Winston, Tracer, and then things like a Genji that are really just good at closing that distance and just having that flexibility. Like something that's so good about dive is just that they can pivot into really any kind of play. So they can kind of work the map and then just commit to a position at any point in time, and that's what makes it like really strong.
That's
And then Genji, with all of his different mobility, like being able to double jump, wall climb, dash, all those things, just makes him really good at diving.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we have some pretty good. It would have been nice to get to play the game last night, at least one of the games we played, but you had just about every single one of them. So Let's dive into some gameplay now. What I'll do is I'll spectate you
Okay,
in a game,
gotcha.
in a quick play, if that works for you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I am on the Sneaky Squid account.
Yep, I will. You want to queue up?
Only the best of names. Yeah, I made a queue.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, I just found a game. Let me make sure I don't get Genji taken from me.
Yeah.
Alright, boom. There we go.
Okay. Hopping into spectate, and we will.
Yeah, so the main things I think about really on any role or hero that I'm playing is just, you know, what my team composition is and like what it's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of just look at it, and I like to think, you know, what is the main part of my team comp? Like, if I add up all the strengths of my team comp, are they more like a brawl centered or dive centered or poke centered, like whatever it might be? Like here I have a Sigma, which, you know, won't be diving the backline with me, of course. So I have a Hanzo, so I have like a very slow team comp. Like my Hanzo and Sigma and my Mercy, they just want to play slow and play for damage over time. And then my Ana is kind of the same way, so that doesn't necessarily favor Genji. So what I'm thinking here is just looking for like a longer poke kind of section of a fight. Like I'm thinking like I want a longer poke phase because that favors my team, and then I can think about like hard engaging, mostly just looking for good Ana nades to engage off of. Like that's the main things I'd be thinking about coming into this team comp. And then of course like it also depends on what they're playing. Like, you know, they have a Mercy, they have a Diva. Like, if say they had a Brig instead of a Mercy, okay, like now their backline's gonna be more protected, right? Like that's something I would have to consider. Yeah, so on defense, I just like to think, you know, they need to initiate. So like Diva walks in, okay, now I'm forcing this Mercy out, and like that Mercy had to disengage because, you know, if she doesn't, she dies. But when that Mercy does disengage, okay, now the Diva is forced back because she doesn't have heals. You know what I mean? Okay, but now the Diva is forced back into space. Okay, good. We succeeded.
So
we were trying to
you
accomplish.
held off that push for the point by
Exactly.
Yeah, got it.
Exactly. So Diva tried to contest my team's space. I got rid of her support. You know, Mercy shouldn't have died there if, you know, they protected her more or whatever. Like, in theory, the Diva would have had to fall back to protect her Mercy, but then that would have denied the space, right? It's like right now I'm just playing very fundamental, very simple. Like the Diva simply just doesn't have support, so you know she just dies. You know, very simple. So you know, Widowmaker, I don't know what that is. Like, yeah, on defense, it's all just about playing reactive. If they aren't creating threats, they aren't creating any, you know, routes for them to take space, then we don't have to do anything. But it's about making sure I have resources to counteract the threats. So when Diva uses boosters, when a Reaper uses TP, that's basically my turn to use my dash to create a counter threat on their backline. And by creating a counter threat, their supports will either have to disengage, right? Or their tank will have to disengage, like, to keep them like from dying. Like, it's just some sort of pressure that they have to respond to so that they can't keep taking space. Out there, you know. Kind of stood in the open and died to Widowmaker. Unlucky. Yeah. And what I like to think about a lot, and what I teach very like thoroughly is, you know, when you should be shooting who, like what should your target priority be? And the easy way to think about it is, can the Diva get support? Right? Can this Diva get support right now? No, she can't. So I'm gonna shoot this Diva. If the Diva can get support, okay, now I'm gonna pivot to the supports. But the second I force the supports out, I'm instantly pivoting back to that Diva because she doesn't have support again. You know what I mean? And then, you know, it's different if they haven't actually, you know, contested space yet. If Diva's sitting in her team space, I'm still just gonna shoot the Diva because that's all I see. I'm not gonna dive past the Diva, but the second the Diva dives into our space, that's gonna force the supports to walk up into neutral space, and that's when I'm gonna, you know, force them back into their space, and then I can pivot back to that Diva. And that Diva will either then just straight up die, or she will what was I gonna like the diva is either gonna die or she's gonna get forced. She's gonna have to disengage, right? Yeah. So Genji, when you're playing Genji, you want to think about, you know, what does Genji do? What is Genji's strength? What is weakness? Well, Genji does not have good range. He has very weak poke. So you wouldn't ever put Genji in the same composition as a Widowmaker because they just do different things, right? Widowmaker wants to play for range. Genji wants to get close. He wants to close the distance.
Got you.
So, you know, the best way to close the distance. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, and I know that the term of hard counters is not necessarily the case.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. I am a person who completely disagrees with the whole idea of like rock paper scissors, right? Like of just counter swapping and all that. Well, you know, there is some truth in that. It's really just a matter of playing the matchup differently, and you know, some matchups are just going to be harder than others, and that's all it really is.
Sure.
So like for example, say I'm playing against a Pharah and a Mercy, right? Genji's gonna struggle against that, and a lot of people will try to take that, you know, head-on matchup against a Pharmacy, and they're gonna struggle because Genji, you know, is weak in that department. But what you should be doing is instead not fighting the Pharmacy and fighting the other support, because if a Mercy is always pocketing a Pharah, that means that the other support is going to be weaker, right? Because they don't have support with them.
Right.
And so it's just about like establishing that weakness in the team comp, and that's gonna be the other support in that instance. You know what I mean?
Right, because basically that one's a pocket deal with only one character.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, why fight, you know, basically two players when you can just fight one and force out more resources that way? And a lot of the time, you're gonna be able to draw that Mercy back to that other support, and then that's gonna take pressure off your team because that Pharah won't have that Mercy helping you, right?
Right.
But people will kind of look at that matchup and say, well, you know, Pharmacy, I'm Genji, I lose, right? And they think it's that simple. So like here, I see they have, you know, Pharah. I'm simply just gonna, you know, try to not fight the Pharah and fight the Widowmaker instead, you know?
Right.
And so I'm gonna try to close the distance. And closing the distance with your dash is going to be the main way you do that with Genji. But if you can close the distance without dash, that's going to be more ideal. And it's really just about pathing. I'm going to path through the right side because this is a close space for me. It's just a close position where, you know, I can take favorite gunfights. And now I have a flank on this Widowmaker just because I simply, you know, just took a smart path to get to her, right? And yeah, a lot of the time with heroes that focus on close range, your pathing is going to be very important. And that's also going to be a very common thing with a Reinhardt. If a Reinhardt is just trying to close the distance through open space the entire time, he's never taking, you know, like close quarters engagements, then he's just going to take too much damage before he actually reaches where he wants to go. And it's the exact same thing with Genji. So it can just be wall climbing to different high grounds and pathing. Like, instead of walking down this path, I can walk up here and now I'm already in that close range, right? And like same thing with this Widowmaker. If I try to walk to that, you know, that long path, that long line of sight, I'm just gonna lose the fight.
Right, right. Got it. Does Genji deflect? Does it deflect or does it remove
Yeah,
damage?
yeah. It does deflect back at them. Yeah. So same thing here. I'm just utilizing this high ground to kind of control my engagement timings with them,
Right.
and I'm just focusing on trying to not take as much damage as possible. A very big mistake that people will make is they just take too much damage. And if I'm taking damage, you know, my Ana can't heal my tank, or my supports are using resources on me, now my team isn't getting resources. And that goes for healing, but also I want my Ana to be able to do more damage. The less damage I take, the more damage my Ana can do, and that's gonna be like important pressure. That's way more worth it than me just like feeding for a little bit more damage on my part, you know what I mean? So you want to make sure you're taking the least amount of resources as possible from your team, and that's just going to be able to enable them more.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was watching, when I was at Overwatch, I was watching most of the teams, at least in the series I was watching, had
Yeah.
on healers, and it seemed like it's just basically as an additional DPS. It's just like Kirito,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Like you're
Yeah.
not
For sure.
You know, you're doing no DPS, so you're not a liability.
And it's hard for people to really like realize that part of support, but it's, you know, like an easier way to really understand it is just when you think about Mercy. If you think about a Pharah and a Mercy, right? When a Pharah is, you know, just flying in the open more often, now Mercy can't damage boost her because she has to heal her instead, right? But the more Pharah plays cover, the more Pharah, you know, saves her team's resources, the more she's gonna get damage boosted, and that's just gonna result in more damage, right?
I mean, obviously, this is an obvious question, but I'm going to just highlight it. Map knowledge clearly really important, especially as you talk about these folks.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. The more you learn the maps, the easier you're going to be able to close the distances without losing resources, and that's very important. You know, instead of me walking through this main choke, if I take an off angle from high ground, now I can save my deflect for when I do engage in that fight. Save that deflect to trade for, say, an Ana sleep dart, instead of having to use my deflect to get to the Ana instead, right?
With the sleep dart, could you deflect an Ana sleep dart?
I could sleep her, yeah.
You have really know what it is.
You can. You're just kind of like a sound cue, and you can like see her do it, but it's definitely not easy to see. Yeah. And so you can kind of preemptively do it in certain situations if you just have a lot of people looking at you. Yeah, so here's the same thing. This choke point, I'm just seeing anything past this choke is their space. Anything on this side of the choke is, you know, more or less our space. You know, it's kind of a combination of neutral space in the middle where this payload is. Like this Roadhog's walking in. He doesn't have support, so I'm simply just shooting the Roadhog, right? I don't always have to be diving somebody.
Right. She's just zip-lining up real quick to try to get out of there?
Yeah. So, yeah, like if the, you know, during, you know, a big, I guess, misconception is that you always have to be diving, or you always have to be making some threat. But you don't. You need to make sure you're poking in the poke phase when you need to. Like, make sure your team has the resources before you dive. Because if I'm diving when my team doesn't have resources, like my Ana doesn't have nade, my, you know, whatever it might be, maybe I'm playing with a Sombra, my Sombra doesn't have her translocate again, right? I need to make sure my team has these things so that when I engage, we can actually do something together, right? And a lot of time people get kind of unsynchronized in their cooldown cycles. And then a lot of time they'll accidentally, you know, they will be synchronized, but it's like on accident a lot. And so some games people will like be rolling, and the next game they'll just start getting rolled, and they're like, what's happening? When it can just be them accidentally falling into the right play and then accidentally falling into the wrong play right after. And it, like, sometimes it's hard to recognize when you actually are in the wrong play. But
awesome. Well, good game there. I'll spectate your next one. Let me know when you're in.
yeah. I'll try to talk about like my thought process more in this game.
No, it's fine. I mean, the gameplay is
Yeah.
is amazing, but yeah, it is good to understand, because earlier today, like, I haven't played Genji much, and then I was inspired after watching you play last night, and so
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about the things you're thinking about, right? Like, I wasn't considering the you know, the liabilities, the positioning. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, Porter was, you know, or sorry, Coach Theory was going out of his way last night to really kind of dive in on these dudes, and so in my mind I was just like diving right in, and I was getting my ass kicked, and I didn't really understand why. But again, after listening to, you know, your thought process, it's really helpful to me.
Yeah. So right now I'm simply just waiting for my team to respawn. You know, it seems obvious, but I'm telling you, people don't do it. I'm back feeling on I don't know what's going on in this game.
Yeah, you got. I was gonna say, this game's already in progress.
Yeah. Got 30 seconds left. Yeah, we'll make something happen. So right now my team's just kind of like staggering out.
Yeah, there's probably a
For-
pretty good
really-
reason why the person left this game.
Yeah, really, the main thing I'm thinking is I just need to wait for my Wrecking Ball to engage, my Sombrity EMP, and like then I go in with them. Like, I just need my Wrecking Ball to go.
You don't want to get greedy because it's 5v1 basically.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a little bit of nothing. Let's leave. I can't leave. Is it? Can I not leave because I just like backfilled it?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Hey Mark, let me know if that's better. There we go. Turn my microphone up. Currently that's pretty quiet.
Something that I like to think about, again, like on any role, any hero, any map, something I like to teach is just like I want you to just like think of 3 main kind of goals that you're trying to accomplish in like any given moment. It's just, are you giving up space? Are you just holding space? Or are you trying to take space?
Gotcha.
And you know, if you're just holding space, that's probably a situation where you're trying to stabilize. And when I say stabilize, I just mean get your resources back, which could be just getting healed, getting your health back, reloading, or just getting your actual cooldowns like my dash or my deflect, right?
Right.
Any of those things. So if I'm holding space, I'm probably just getting resources back, waiting for my team to get their resources back. And then once we have resources, we can begin to try to take space again if that's what we're wanting to do. And then if we're giving up space, that's usually when we're like at a resource disadvantage, which could just be us like losing some exchanges, like maybe they outplayed us in some cooldown exchanges, or they simply just use an ultimate, right? If they use an ultimate, okay, we give up space. If we use an ultimate, now we try to take space, right? Because we have a resource advantage.
The hand will not flinch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Sorry, I had to step away for 1 second. Apologize.
All good.
This is a new game here, so let me get over to
Yeah.
you.
So again, I'm just looking to control this high ground because this high ground overlooks the point. If they don't have this space, then that is good for my team. Not necessarily looking to do anything. We don't want to take space over there, right? Because the point's over here. I don't care about their spawn, right? So if they don't want the point, then that's all good. All right, now we're just gonna shoot Ramatra. So if Ramatra doesn't have support, all I gotta is shoot Ramatra. I don't have to dive anybody, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna take an off angle. This is gonna help me close the distance. I don't need to use my dash yet. Don't need to use my dash. Now I'm gonna pivot to the soldier because we isolated him, right?
Right.
So it's like we were like walking on his team. We're staging on these guys. We're forcing them back. Okay. Now we instantly just pivot back to the soldier, and that a lot of time that's gonna be what happens to the tank. You know, if we can create a big enough threat to make them all disengage, now their tanks stuck on the front line. You just need to start damaging the tank because he can't get supported, right?
Right.
Alright, the soldier is isolated here. So, in like a soldier matchup, it's just about closing the distance. If you close the distance on a soldier as Genji, you should kind of win that engagement just because you do more damage at close range. But if you can't close the distance, then you should probably lose. But you have to hit your shots, unfortunately, which I'm not doing. But, you know, it's all good. It's all good.
Somebody like a Brigette, right? Like she's pretty rough, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That's when you want to keep your distance.
So, against a Brig, yeah, you want to ideally like poke her down a little bit before you hard engage. You don't want to just instantly hard engage on her Brig, especially if you don't, if she has all of her cooldowns. That's a bit dangerous. That goes for like really anybody. Like if you dive in Ana that has full cooldowns and she's like competent, you're gonna really struggle. If she's hitting the anti and she's able to hit that sleep, she doesn't have to necessarily hit that sleep, but it's gonna force you to use your deflect, right?
Right.
And now you don't have your deflect to disengage, which you will be using a lot to disengage. So when you're diving, you want to kind of, I guess, soft engage before you look for a hard commit. And these soft engages will just allow you to burn out some of their cooldowns, and then that will make the hard engage a lot more safer.
Got it. Nice job. And that's a reflect right there.
Yeah, that's the deflect, yeah.
Or, sorry, deflect, yeah.
Score 1.
So you can kind of, so like whenever I was wall climbing that high ground there, right? when there's people below me, since like because of that position, I can just fall on them, and now like I'm already in the range that I want to be as a Genji. So I didn't have to use my dash. So now in that situation, I can actually use my dash to disengage because I already pathed to them, right? Like
Right.
using the map.
Right.
So you want to do that as many times as you can, just using high grounds, and then you can also if you're like depending on the map, you can just disengage by wall climbing back up to the high ground, right?
Right.
So the more you can do that, you can kind of trade cooldowns without having to use any of yours, right? If you just drop on them in a wall climb, and like they had to use an on maybe an on a sleep, and you didn't even have to use your dash, like that's very good for you because now you still have it, and you can instantly re-engage onto them right after. Okay, here, Wrecking Ball on my team. I'm just gonna force out Wrecking Ball, okay? Wrecking Ball's forced. And now Wrecking Ball is gonna have to get healed a little bit, you know? So that gives me some space. Wrecking Ball needs to get healed. I'm just gonna go in right now. Because Wrecking Ball can't actually cause too much pressure for my team because he doesn't have much HP yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So during that, you know, I don't actually know, but I'm assuming that Mercy was, you know, having to heal that Wrecking Ball more, so the people I was shooting couldn't get Mercy heals, you know what I mean?
Got it.
And if the Mercy pivoted to the people I was attacking, I could just disengage, and now Wrecking Ball is either gonna die or get forced out. And you know, that might not result in any kills, but it's gonna result in lots of space for my team. And that's like really the main objective, right?
Got it.
So same thing, Wrecking Ball, no support, no support, no support. Okay, he dies. But the second these guys walked up, I was gonna hard commit on them, force them back, and then pivot back onto the Wrecking Ball right after.
So you're basically zoning him away from his team.
Exactly, yeah. So Genji's a hero with a very weak poke phase. You know, it doesn't do much. You're kind of just throwing random shurikens, and like sometimes they do damage, like it's whatever. But he gets that high spike of value when he actually gets that dive off. Right now, this tank's kind of just feeding. But I'm telling you, a lot of players on Genji wouldn't even be shooting the tanks. They would just be obsessed with like going for a dive instead. But it's just about reading like the situation, like what actually is happening. And right now, the tank's just isolated, so I just damage the tank, right?
And I'm assuming previous behavior is a good indication. Like, you know, this tank, at least historically, has been feeding. Like, the tank's going to continue to start pushing, right? I mean, maybe he'll fix his behavior, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still like just without his team entirely.
Yeah. So I'm Sombra's on point. Okay, I'm forcing Sombra out. Like this is what everybody on my team should be doing. We should force Sombra out. Now we look back to the main player.
Got it.
Alright, now you know, playing a stable position. They don't have health. Right here, I unfortunately just can't do much.
How long is that helping a hack for?
I don't know, but it's very long. Unfortunately, yeah. Okay, we do have Nana.
Nice try. Yeah, you're sitting without health for a long time there.
Yeah, all good.
I shall take whatever form I must.
Alright, Mark. I turned up my... Let's see about that. Apparently my voice is pretty quiet.
So look, if I walk right side, this is gonna help me close the distance on this guy, right? Look, now I'm here. Now I'm instantly on him. I can just drop on him, and look, I'm just on this soldier right here. I'm just on him already, like this. It's like very, very easy. I just walk on him, like. Okay. Okay, that hurt. Alright, so what I should have done is just disengage back to that high ground because they use lamp, right? And then after I can re-engage from that same high ground, and they won't have lamp anymore. And that's kind of how you want to play dive. You want to have multiple engagements that have high value. You don't want long, short, like, you don't want a short amount of long engagements, you just want a high amount of short engagements. Should be good. Like, just something like that. It's just like a small engage. We force out some cooldowns, and then we do it again. Okay, we walk left, close the distance, miss the shots, it's all good though. miss the shots, okay, look, we take some space for some cooldowns. Okay, now we engage again. We're gonna force this guy's lamp, look, he used lamp. And now we disengage. Alright, now we engage. They don't have limp this time. And see, I'm able to get that kill because of what I just did. Like, I had a short engagement before, forced out lamp, I go again, now he doesn't have it, right?
Right. And is there a priority target when you get your ult up?
It's really just gonna be the weakest targets on the team. The people with the least sustain, right? So I'm not gonna go for a tank, I'm gonna go for a Zenyatta, right?
Right.
And same thing goes for my ult. I don't want to hard engage right away. I would rather, you know, have at least one soft engage just to force out maybe an on a sleep, even just an on a nade or a Baptiste, like his like regenerative burst. Just any one of those things. If I can just have a soft engage, force out one of those, then my ult's just gonna have way more value because they're gonna have less to sustain it. But right now, like as you can see, my mechanics are like kind of lazy right now. But the main thing is that I'm focusing on closing the distance using, you know, stable positions like outside of the main fight, like taking a off angle, right? And then I'm taking multiple short engagements to kind of wear them down over time, so then I can look for that hard engagement at the end of the fight.
1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
It comes to this. Do not falter.
We poked at that brig, right? And then we relayed the kill.
Yeah, see, when I was playing it, my tendency was to try to push in with my dash and then start doing stuff. And it seems like you're kind of getting him soft before you do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
'Cause, so damage-wise, like the melee stuff's actually.
So yeah, if the max damage output is just throwing in a little melee after a right click. That's just kind of get that finish on them. But if it's not gonna finish, it's better for you to kind of just keep right clicking until they are in that finish melee range.
Got it.
Alright, we force one stun out. Okay, we use an ult. I just walk with the pressure. Do you see how I missed all these shots? That's not something you want to do. For real. What the?
Do you recommend aim trainers for people?
I hate aim trainers, in my opinion. I don't think you should spend time training your aim. I think your mechanics are just something that are gonna come with time. And it's a lot more beneficial to just work on thinking about the game, like thinking about what you're doing. And once you kind of get down to what you want to do, what is the right play, then your mechanics are just gonna develop over time. Okay, so they ult, so we have to go with space, right? We have to go with space. We don't want to be taking damage, so my team can sustain this. I don't want to force my team to give resources to me when the rest of my team needs it.
Right.
Honestly, blading there just was not the play, bro. Nah, so there, same thing. Like, I'm just making the mistake of not disengaging. I keep thinking I can have a long engagement when, as a dive, I should be taking a shorter engagement and then disengaging, getting resources back, and then re-engaging right after. And that's what I'm not doing. I gotta say though, aiming with talking, not a skill I have.
Hey, you gotta play the game.
Hey, a little play of the game still.
the deflect in
Yeah.
in full speed that time.
I love the deflect. I love it. Something to kind of think about when you're playing Genji is, I mean, really any hero, but what supports do you have? If you have, if say you have like a Mercy Zen, like you have very low hills, right? Very, very low hills. So your team wants to play very slow. That's more of a comp that wants to play slow and play for damage, just like how a Widowmaker would. So as a Genji, you got to be very careful that you're not playing too fast of a tempo for your team to actually sustain you. But when you do have something like an Ana or a Kiriko that can sustain you more, then then you can kind of understand that and lean into that more, and you can get more aggressive.
When it comes to, because with like MOBAs, different characters have different levels of difficulty. The game will recommend certain things. In regard to this game, right? Like, I play a lot of Junkrat, and it's probably because I'm kind of junk. But when it comes to characters, like, would you, just based on the movement alone, it feels like this is more of an advanced character. Just because, again, watching your play style, it definitely is very reliant on the map knowledge, and again, kind of, I think one of the things that I think you've highlighted before is spending a lot of time in the game to better understand.
Sometimes I just hum.
The health bar alone is not an indication of how easy or hard it is to finish somebody, and so in my mind, like, I'm diving after somebody with my melee, but they may have, it may be a bad decision for me to dive in when they're half health compared to with another character.
For sure, yeah. Genji, I think Genji is absolutely one of the hardest heroes in the game, with one of the highest skill ceilings in the game as well.
Got it.
He definitely has a tough barrier of entry, because you don't really get value from just kind of sitting there and shooting, right? Like how like maybe a soldier or a Junkrat would, like they will still get value from just straight up like shooting them, right? Because they will do some damage. Genji, you need to think more about what you're doing, like, right? You need to have more of a plan and understand what you're trying to accomplish. Because if I just sat here and just poked away at them, I would never get anything done, right?
Right.
So the same thing though, I'm gonna kind of wall climb, just a little soft engage on them, right? Maybe I stand here with the deflect. Like, they use some resources. Okay, now we're back out. And we're still just looking for an opportunity to dive on the backline. Okay. Same thing, we force some resources, right? And we're just poking them down over time. And it might not look anything, but now like this next engagement, we're probably just gonna win, because they don't have any more resources.
They don't have lamp anymore.
Right. And look at me, like, look at my mechanics right now. Like, they're like decent, but like they're nothing too crazy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not absolutely peaking right now or anything. I'm just like fundamentally engaging, right? I know when I should be in, I know when I should be out. Okay, now we're just going to disengage to the high ground, right? They used an ultimate, we're just going to disengage in a way. And now we're back in.
Yeah, I do see a lot of melee use. So to your point earlier, like, because for me, like, if I was that close, I wouldn't necessarily be doing the melees as a follow-up to the blades. So that's a good call out.
Yeah, it just gives you like a little bit higher burst of damage.
Right.
I think in like some of these instances, it's better for me not to melee, because I'm missing the shurikens. But if I was to hit all like the shurikens in the head, right, then the melee would be finishing them. So that's kind of like the reason I am attempting to do that.
Got it.
So like there, see how like I kind of deflected right after. Like, something you can kind of do is just always throw in a right click, but like before anything do. Like, I'm gonna dash. Okay. Like, let's throw some shurikens with the dash. I'm going to deflect. Let me right click with the deflect. Like, I'll just go like this. I'll just like right click and deflect like that.
Got it.
And same thing with your blade. Right before you pop your blade animation, you can just throw in a right click. It's just a little bit extra damage you can accomplish that way. Like, right, like this. And again, I'm just, finding the I guess, lowest sustainable target. The target with like no sustainability, which would be like a Mercy or Lucio.
Right.
And by targeting them, it's gonna force more resources out of their team to keep them alive.
Right.
Right now, I'm getting hit by every Sigma Rock though. This is crazy. Alright, so we're back on Mercy. Look, I don't need to use my dash. We just walk on her because I already used the map, right?
Right.
Team kill.
Anybody in the stream have any questions around Genji? I see a couple folks on there, Marky and Poison Ivy.
I'm walking top left, right?
Yep.
To close the distance. Okay. I can just jump around here. I'm just pivoting away from the Sigma.
This is very much highlights map knowledge.
And I'm dead. Yeah.
Because I didn't even know you could get up there. Just to be honest with you.
Alright, so you're not gonna want to stand in those Junkrat mines. Something I will highlight.
Yeah, it does feel like Junkrat's an easy one shot for you if you get caught off guard. Yeah, with
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, something to take away is mechanics are just very overrated. You don't actually need a good mechanics tag to accomplish things and be good at the game. They will help a lot, but I feel like this is a good example of me just missing so many shots and getting hit by like so many things. But I'm just thinking fundamentally like when I should engage and when I shouldn't and where I should be pathing, right? Like same thing, I'm just pathing, you know, through an off angle, right? They can't see me, like I'm just closing the distance. And now, you know, I'm next to this Junkrat, but now I can just fall on this Mercy. I'm just on this Mercy now, right?
Right.
I didn't have to go through the Sigma to get to it.
Right, and now she's not paying
And-
attention to healing the tank.
Exactly.
Poison Ivy asked, what are some of the best supports that synergize with Genji? Obviously, we see a Mercy
Yeah.
in here, damage boosting you, which is
So-
good for the whole family. But
Yeah, so the best supports that synergize with Genji are definitely going to be Ana, because Ana is able to support me from a distance, right? I'm a lot of the time not going to be in a place where Mercy is going to be able to support me. So Mercy is not really going to be optimal when I'm, you know, actually in that dive mode, right?
right,
So Ana, Kiriko really has that range as well. Kiriko can also help take like aggressive off angles with me, which is great,
Right.
and keep me up on the off angle. And then Lucio is nice. Lucio can be nice with Genji because he supports that kind of fast playstyle that Genji supports. You know, he's really good at getting Genji in and then engaging out. That same idea, just those cycles of those fast but short engagements that you want to accomplish with dive.
gotcha.
Yeah, I'd say Ana's probably the best for Genji, and then I'd say Ana Kiriko. Ana Kiriko.
And are there other synergies? You mentioned like a Black Widow Genji, not necessarily being a strong
Yeah.
composition when it came to 2 DPS. Are there others that I know it's more of a categorically just based on range and things like that. But are there others?
You mean
that,
like?
Are there others that are
any
like
that
preferred?
would
Like if you're a
interest?
Genji, well, if you're a Genji, like the best complement to Genji from a DPS perspective would be not. It doesn't have to be one, but like what's
Yeah.
something that comes to mind?
I know what you mean. So definitely gonna be Tracer. You know, Tracer has that same kind of play style, just playing aggressive, playing fast. Those, you know, those cycling of engagements.
So does that categorically, like when we were talking earlier about the different types of teams, which we can go through in another video, but like, is that more of a poke team then? I guess that if you have a Tracer and a Genji, or
No, yeah, that would be dive.
the dive? Sorry.
Yeah. So, but then, you know, a lot of the time you can also play with an Ashe, and Ashe, you know, would be more of that poke element, but she can kind of support the dive from distance, if that makes sense. Kind of the same way Ana does, and so it's really nice to look for dynamites like on these dive engagements, right? If we can kind of synergize like a Genji dash and a dynamite at the same time, that would be, you know, good value. If we can get that on that same location. Same thing with like Winston. Like Winston is very common to be played with, you know, an Ashe or a Tracer. So you know, same thing with Ana. If we can look for like Ana nades, Ashe dynamites, and then we're diving with those at the same time, you know, they can actually support each other that way. But when we're thinking about, you know, how an Ashe would play more back, and then an Genji would be in, like it might get more confusing, you know, because they kind of are doing different things, but they can support each other at the same time. And so yeah, you can still like mix and match different heroes into different team comps, of course.
Right. Is there a DPS that? So you mentioned Widowmaker. Are there others that would fall under that same category of just not?
Of not working with Genji.
Yeah, maybe like leaning too much into.
Yeah. I'd say like. So, I'd say you wouldn't really ever run Genji with like a Mei.
Okay.
Because Mei is really focused on just playing that brawl, like brawly frontline. It's very frontline focused. Just win the battle on the front line, win the space on the front line, and just really play to sustain like a longer engagement. Genji just, you know, isn't gonna get the job done as well as somebody else would. Like say, you know, like say you're playing like a Reaper, like a really aggressive Reaper Zarya, and your Zarya is bubbling a Reaper, right? You're not necessarily gonna want a Genji for that playstyle if you'd rather like play it with a Mei, right? Mei is just gonna try to isolate people on the front line, and then you're gonna burst them down. Genji doesn't have that same damage output that say a Reaper would, you know what I mean?
Got it.
So
just in regard to attacks and better understanding the abilities, so you have kind of your directional, and you have kind of almost a shotgun blast, right? 3 that are sent out in different directions, and then you have 1 that's directional. How does that? Are you kind of alternating between the two? Are there times that it makes more sense to use one versus the other? If you're further distance, or using the kind of the singular, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So what it comes down to is it's really simple. It's just what's gonna do more damage in the moment, right? And typically at range, you're just gonna want to left click. It's just gonna be more consistent because your right click spreads out at more longer distances, right?
Right.
But at close range, like the main difference is like when we look at a right click, I throw all 3 shurikens at the same second, right? The left click, it spreads them out over maybe 2 seconds, right? So it's slower damage, right? So when we're up close, it's just optimal to right click because the damage happens faster. But at range, it's not optimal because we're not gonna hit all 3 shurikens. So you know,
so even though it
depends.
spreads out, but it's yeah, I get what you're saying.
So and then also maybe it depends like on the target. Like if I'm fighting a Winston, even if the Winston's kind of far, I'll still right click because like I'm pretty confident I'm gonna hit all 3, right? Because he's a big target. But if it's like a Widowmaker, I'm gonna be left clicking the whole time at range, right?
Right.
All right, so here I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna path the right side. We can wall climb up here, and this isn't only gonna help me close the distance on these guys. It's just gonna control the space for my team. Now people can't be peeking down on my team, you know?
And they saw you go over here, so now they're nervous. Right?
I'm walking over here, and I just closed the distance, right?
Yep.
And now, I didn't kill this Widow, even though I should have, right? Even if I didn't kill the Widow, it's fine, because I forced out a bunch of resources to keep that Widow alive.
Right.
And now I have Allari, and something very important is in this situation, this is fine, because I'm not doing anything, right? But Allari is trying to fight me, so she's not helping her team. So, you know, when Allari wasn't there, she wasn't actually contributing to the fight, so it's just like an even exchange of a 1 for 1. Not
it's almost
doing
like you
fight.
had her CC'd because you took out one of their teammates.
Exactly, and then as long as I just live, that's fine because Allari is not doing anything either. And then the second Allari goes back to the fight, okay, now I pivot back into the fight. But if Allari is not doing anything, I don't need to do anything yet, right?
So it's a lot of patience in that way.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I struggle with, and probably a lot of new players struggle with is.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to be doing something at all times.
For sure, 100%.
It's maybe more searchable.
Alright, so same thing. Now I'm just gonna walk down, and I instantly close the distance on these people right here, right? And I just did a stupid thing. But...
well, you didn't realize what's her name had her turrets there.
Yeah, no, I meant to dash out, but I did not dash out. But it's just that same idea. By being able to wall climb up there, I can instantly engage on those people without having to use a dash or take any damage in the process of reaching them. I'm just already on them because I fell from the high ground.
Right. So you're sneaking around.
Now here, I'm just immediately disengaging back to the high ground like this, right?
Right.
This is a very effective thing to do with Genji. Now I can just re-engage. I'm back on him. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the high ground now. Get my resources back. Now I can kind of just like walk across this bridge to re-engage with them. And controlling this high ground is also very beneficial for my team because that's just one less angle that they have to worry about now.
Right. Especially as
So
you're
less
running
space for them.
Widowmaker and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. I was attempting to disengage back to a high ground to get resources again, and then I would have re-engaged onto the Ashe if I did get resources back.
Got it.
Assembled and ready.
Yeah, so say on a map like this, or this second point in particular, like people would never be running a Sigma at the highest level because Sigma can't contest his space up here because he doesn't have mobility. This is a very dive heavy map because his high ground is so dominant. So it'd be a lot of, you know, Winston's, you know, divas, things like that, that can actually contest his space.
Well, I feel like they switched away from, yeah, I think they switched to Ashe from Widowmaker earlier on. But either way, their sniper is you're denying the sniper the kind of the bird's nest.
Yeah.
The crow's nest.
So once again, I just overcommitted. I just went into enemy space when I didn't need to. Like, I'm already controlling this space, so why am I walking into their space? Well, because I'm greedy, that's why. That's why everybody does it. It's all good though.
Right. Well, I'm sure there's kind of a play to win and a play to have fun situation.
Exactly,
and if you're
yeah.
doing high level competition, you wouldn't do things that would be risky.
Oh yeah,
versus
absolutely.
Bug stopping.
And so, something also very important is just always making sure you get value out of your team's ult. Like, if my Sigma's ulting, I should be shooting the people in his ult. It's very simple, but it does not happen enough. If my Reinhardt has Shatter, I need to be there for a Shatter. When my Ashe throws her Bob, I need to be, you know, making some kind of threat to kind of synergize with that pressure she's making, right? If my Ashe has a Bob out, I should be walking into somewhere because we just have more space because of that Bob.
Right.
Here we Bob. Now this kind of just cleanses the space for us, so we can walk up to this core now. And then, you know, just being able to use your wall climb to, I guess, take off angles more.
Right.
Like if I'm wall climbing like this, now I'm at a higher level, right? So probably not gonna get headshotted if I'm doing that. Okay, now I just focus on keeping the support back so Wrecking Ball will get forced out. I don't have to kill this person. I just need to make sure so they can't support the front line.
Nice job.
I'm gaming. I'm gaming.
So any kind of takeaways you have for people from oh, we got to play the game. We better hop into that.
That's it.
Is your alt enhanced at all? Is your reflect enhanced at all during that play the game?
No, no.
Or not play the game. Yeah, ultimate.
Yeah, the ult. Yeah, everything normal. Yeah, but you move a little bit faster during your ultimate, so it helps you close the distance a little bit better.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna spectate one more game, and I think we'll call it there. Anything else you want to add? So again, I want to highlight Coach Theory. Look him up on Fiverr. We'll post a link in the description once this video's up. We're planning on doing a video for every Overwatch character. Coach Theory again was Grandmaster. What number did you reach on Zarya?
So I reached a rank. I think it was 234 playing Zarya in tank, and then I think I think the highest I've gotten DPS, I've just gotten like Grandmaster 4 or 3, and then same thing for my support. So I'm Grandmaster every role, and then rank like 230 something on a tank.
Awesome. Well, and again, highlighting what you have done with different teams. You know, if you look on your Fiverr bio, there's kind of a description, but you will review people's team scrims and give them feedback, as well as do you spectate live games, or what's your preferred method, I guess?
So I kind of leave it up to the player. Usually what ends up happening is we'll just decide on doing like a mixture. We will do some live games and then also a VOD review as well, just to kind of give, two kinds of perspectives.
Got it.
But yeah, so I mean, either one works. I think usually the VOD reviews give a little bit more information just because you can look a little more closely at what's happening in the fights.
Right.
But then the
live
games are also
and all
nice.
That stuff versus reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but in the live games, I can kind of like give live feedback and like adjust you accordingly to what you're trying to accomplish during the fight.
So for me, it feels like key takeaways that I'm seeing here is kind of poking to basically bait people to use cooldowns, and then using that as the opportunity to, if it makes sense, to go in for the kill. Also, identifying ways to basically either silo resources from the teams, either cause tanks or healers to be dealing with you versus dealing with whatever the objective is. Anything else that I'm missing on?
So whenever I'm thinking about Genji or any kind of dive heroes, it's just about having multiple short engagements over time, and through these engagements you can force out cooldowns from any team, and then once you've forced enough cooldowns, now you can try to hard engage on them. And it's really just about having a resource advantage in some kind of way, and that can also just be from having ultimate. Say my Lucio beats, right? If my Lucio beats, like, that is a resource advantage for me to have, right? So I can just instantly start walking with that pressure. And then we'll definitely get more in depth about it later on, but the way I kind of think about the different spaces, I'll talk about neutral space and the different team space and all of that, but just really thinking about what space your team controls and what space the enemy team controls, and if you can recognize when the enemy tank or any hero really on the other team is contesting your space, then you can try to figure out how to limit the rest of their team from helping that individual in contesting your space. So like, say their tank, Winston dives in, okay, can I keep this Ana from healing Winston? Yes. Okay, then the Winston's gonna get forced out, right?
Right.
And just things like that.
Somebody in the chat asked what rank this is. This is just quick play while we're talking about some things, but it did make me think, do you want to hop into one ranked game at the end of this thing? And I won't, you don't have to talk, and you can just focus and...
Yeah, I'll talk a little less when I'm actually like trying to aim, but...
Yeah. Okay. No, let's do that. So after this game, we'll hop into a ranked game, just kind of like to end it up. I think we're right about an hour right now. We are at an hour right now. So, but yeah. So on your Genji, you said you are you ranked this season?
Yeah. On right now, I think I'm like just Grandmaster 4 in DPS.
You need to switch to your other account for that?
Yeah.
Okay. We will do that after this round. So thanks for calling that out, InScar. I think it's a good thought. It's fun watching pub stomps for sure, but it'll be cool to kind of see it.
Yeah.
Not that I have any doubts, but it'll be able to. I get as stressed in pub stomps as you do.
I did not get to like. I've played like DPS is my most played role this season, and like I kind of climbed playing Tracer, and my Genji is definitely not as good as my Tracer, but I will be down to play Genji.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, and we will do a video on Tracer, so and I'll let you choose who you want to cover next. I think we probably should alternate between DPS and support and tank though.
Yeah.
So as we go into the next video, I'll let you choose. And again, those that are watching in the comments, we are giving away 3 sessions with Coach Theory for free. So I'll pick 3 people out of the pool, just randomly select them, and I'll follow up with you, send you a DM.
That'll be
after the
fun.
fact. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait a couple of days just to see how many people ultimately catch it on the back end, but yeah, plan on getting something out probably on Friday. Let's just say on Friday. I'll let people know.
Yeah, it's been interesting, kind of just cycling through the different roles. And yeah, I really do feel like all of the roles are actually a lot more similar than people realize. They have all their different kits, their different abilities and everything, but at the end of the day, all the heroes on your team are just trying to accomplish like the same goal. Like you're trying to contest space, you're trying to hold space, you're trying to all do the same thing, try to control the objective, right?
Right.
And it's just about understanding how can I control the objective with my hero. The same thing, we're taking an off angle, right? Closing the distance. Okay. I take an engagement, We force that leaper back, right? Alright. Got rolled. Did have an Orisa. Yeah, so same thing though, like if ideally I live there, I force the Life Weaver back. Now Orisa's not getting held by that Life Weaver, so now Orisa's gonna back up, or Life Weaver's gonna have to walk forward again. Okay, now we just re-engage on that Life Weaver. And then after enough cycles of that, I will ideally have a cooldown advantage, and then I can hard engage on the Life Weaver or the Honor, whatever it might be.
Okay. Life Weaver does seem fairly tanky.
Yeah, he has 225 HP. And then his little dash gives him a little healing burst, and then he's got his pedal and everything. So yeah, he's pretty hard to kill sometimes.
Yeah, that seems to track with when I've tried to engage, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a healer and it seems easy, and turns out.
Yeah.
What can a Sombra do negatively? I mean, does she just kind of, when she hacks you, what does she cause you to lose your dash abilities? Other things?
Yeah, so you can't deflect, you can't dash. And honestly, I don't know if it affects anything else, but it might. Like in terms of movement. If say a Lucio gets hacked, he won't be able to be wall climbing.
Right, got it. Oh, so you don't know if you can not wall climb?
Yeah, I don't think it works like that for Genji, but I could be wrong.
I am restored.
I guess as you can tell, I always just find, I always find the high ground. Where's the best stable position for me to be? Where's the best place for me to engage from? And like the same thing, I can just walk through this open space, right? It's free space, and now I'm on the Ana. Okay, and now look, I got 3 people looking at me. That means this Orisa is isolated in the front line. We pivot back on the Orisa. Okay, and we forced out, we forced the pull on the Orisa, and like just that forced so many cooldowns from their team. Right. And I might not have killed anybody, but now they're down to resources, and we should ideally be winning this fight off the bat.
Nice.
Push ahead.
Yeah, Ivy says just Grandmaster 4, like that's a simple thing.
That's funny.
So I know you like Genji a lot. What do you like the most about it? I mean, clearly between the fact that Tracer's your favorite character, and then I see probably a lot of similarities with Genji in regard to mobility and positioning and disruption. Is that kind of
Yeah,
what makes it
I
interesting?
love being able to, I love the mobility and just being able to have like such fast engagements. Like, and I guess it's kind of like the flexibility. You know, I can go so many different places, engage basically anybody at any time, because with your dash you can instantly just be anywhere, right?
Right. And your wall
So
climbing.
it's just yeah, the combination of all the mobility and like Genji's just fucking cool, dude. Like,
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. Again,
cyber ninja.
right.
So yeah, I think Genji's the most fun, but I mean, I don't know. I also do love Tracer. It's hard for me to pick one, but I am definitely better with Tracer. I think I don't know. Okay, Genji's just hard. I think I just feel more comfortable in Tracer's playstyle. Okay.
Do you have a teammate leave?
Play of the game.
All right. Well, if you want to switch accounts,
Yeah. That means I gotta actually hit my shots now. So see how that goes.
well, I'm just gonna shut up and just watch.
No, you can ask questions. So I will answer accordingly.
What's your favorite Genji skin? What do you say?
That's tough. I don't know.
I like I have the Nomad one.
On my main, I'm using, it's called Baihu. I think that's how you say it.
That one's cool. That's pretty sick.
Okay. You have, let's see, you have this account added, yeah? Or no?
Probably do. Let me just get you. Oh, whoops! I did not mean to invite you to a group.
Yeah,
Decline
okay.
that. Yeah, decline that. I'm gonna spectate you. Can I spectate? I can spectate.
Oh wait, no, I don't think you can, but I can stream my game.
Okay.
That works.
Yes. Are you streaming it to Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Grab that. Stream here.
Alright, see you.
Let's make sure that that's actually showing up on stream. Have to have Discord open for it to show up, and also let me make sure the sound's on for it. Yep, we got it open here. Yep, we're good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely hard to kind of illustrate what's happening and like really understand and explain things in higher elos, just because it's so much faster paced. Like
Right.
everything's happening really fast, but it really is the same concepts that are happening.
Well, no, it's good.
the
Like foundationally, I think I have a lot of the core concepts now from
Yeah.
kind of all this. So I'll be looking to see the poke, the cooldown usage, you know, the kind of isolation, separation,
Yeah.
resource drain, that type of stuff. Yeah.
I will say though, this is absolutely like the limit. This is like the limit of my Genji capabilities, this rank. So see what happens.
No, all good, dude.
See what happens.
Do you spend a lot of time in the practice range?
No, I really don't, but I need to right now.
It looks like you have a different cursor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't really mind different cursors. Like I don't actually really have much of a preference. I think just whatever whatever you like to use is fine.
Double kill.
Split like bamboo.
How long are the queues? Do they get longer and longer the higher you get?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It also depends on the rule, because people like different rules more than others. But
Now traveling.
tank is always like the lowest queue times.
Select your hero.
People
Because people
don't
like
like
it.
playing tank as much as just support and DPS.
Got it.
So usually supports, the support queues get pretty long, honestly. I think he was saying like it was like max when I was looking at it just now. I think it was 20 minutes for support.
No way.
Yeah, and then my tank was just like 1 or 2 minutes, and then I think DPS was saying like 7 minutes. Wow. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help out there.
Up. Some. Sombra. Brig, Anna.
Keep in touch. I'll have us in and
Well,
out.
So really,
you
we're just
mentioned Ana
looking.
earlier, so that's good.
Yeah. So really, we're just looking for, you know, my diva to be, you know, in the fight, taking some kind of aggro.
Oh wow.
And
wow.
hold on, let me turn these guys
Diamond
off.
3.
Capture the objective.
And we're just gonna want to be engaging off of our Sombra hacks and our Ana nits. The main thing we want to think about right now. So my team wants to fight this side. We're gonna do that same thing. We're gonna wrap right side to close the distance. We're gonna force Genji out. Okay, that's gonna be really far. Okay, we're forcing them out. We forced out Moira's fade. So kind of what happened there, like I know everything's going really fast, but we forced out Moira's fade, right? And because Moira has to leave the fight, now that Symmetra and Doomfist didn't have resources to sustain themselves. And so that's kind of a mistake from their Moira overstepping because she has to fade out. Now she can't keep her Symmetra in that fight. And we just punished them well for that. Alright, you know what? A little greedy, If I like executed that with perfect mechanics, I would have killed her, but I did not. So some people might have stepped on the pointer to get extra percentage, but it's more worth it just to regroup faster with your team. So now you'll retake the point faster. It'll be more worth it that way in terms of percentage. Okay, so we're poking. Waiting for my diva to engage. Okay, now we're in. Alright, we force this on out, and then the Genji's gonna die, right? So pro tip, you can't deflect Symmetra, so don't do that. Okay. So we've got EMP, we've got Nano. Really, we're just looking to, you know, use our ult when they tried to take the point again. Could be about now. Okay, go to sleep.
Great job.
So yeah, I mean, Nano Blade kills a lot of things.
So you got boosted by Ana.
So yeah. So but the main thing there is I waited for the Doomfist to engage on the point to commit, right? That's the main idea. The Doomfist is in our space. Now we, you know, force his team out, and you know, we killed them, right? But even if we didn't kill them, the Doomfist theoretically would die because they would have to use all of the resources to sustain themselves, and then Doomfist would get no help from his backline. That makes sense.
The objective is in my hands.
Fortunately, we're gonna have to give it the point because we just lost Moira Sombra. Okay, they use some ult. So, right, they use an ult, we give up space, right? That's fine, we respect the ult. Ideally, we're gonna be able to recontest with a Nano from our Ana at some point here. Same thing, I'm gonna wait for my Sombra to engage. My Sombra is now hacking their Ana. So now I'm gonna go in with it, right? Kill Diana. Okay, now we disengage back out again. We gotta stabilize, okay. We do end up dying, but we got Diana and we created pressure which led to their Symmetra dying because she didn't have support. So it's kind of an even exchange. Not necessarily a huge advantage, but it was the right idea. Now we do have our Nano. Did lose her though.
Love to see that.
Alright, so that was close as fuck.
Yeah.
That was. Huh? I gotta have myself up a little bit. Some GM for a Genji.
One.
No, so yeah, it's really just what it's the same thing I was doing in those quick play lobbies, right?
Right.
We're engaging with our team at the right time. We're waiting for them to take aggro, and then we're supporting them, right? It's about the timing of our team. But then we're also making sure we're closing the distance effectively. We want to make sure we're getting to the location that we want to get to without having to use resources, without having to lose HP, lose my defect, lose my dash, anything like that, right? And then we're disengaging after having that dive, and then we're re-engaging after getting our resources back. It's just that constant cycle that we want to be thinking about.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, after you explained it to then see it, to your point, sped up, right? But to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Round 3. Capture the objective.
We've got one more round and we win.
Right there. Our Moira kind of just ended up getting picked off. Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Enemy turret here.
Same thing. I see my Sombra on this side of the map right now. I'm just waiting for her to engage, and then I will support that pressure. And now we can't do much until our Sombra engages. And I think our D.Va kind of recognizes that as well. The Sombra's about to go in for a hack here, and then we walk with that pressure. Here we go. Oh, we're on this Ana. So, you know, our D.Va should have walked with that engage. All good though. All good. So that's kind of something that happens with a rank is, you know, dive requires this coordination, and if people aren't on the same page on these dives, then, you know, they're not going to work compared to just playing like a Zarya Mei Brawl like this. It's just a lot easier to get that value.
Right. And how often are people actually using comms for that type of stuff?
Yeah, exactly. They're not really. Unfortunately, we barely lost that. We should be able to take this space from these guys though. But the team gets here. Alright, so don't actually dash into the Torbjorn ult.
It's a pretty good damage on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it hurts, but...
So, okay, holding tab, checking my ults. I see a Vizario, we see we have Mail. So, really, we just want to make sure we have dash for when these ults happen, so that we can give these ults more value.
Right. So you're looking at enemy ults.
Oh, yeah, I mean enemy ults as well. If we are thinking like, you know, if we know their Ana has nano, ideally we, you know, aren't down on resources when she has nano. So like, when enemies do have their ults, we have to play more conservative because we don't want to be like in a position like where they can hard engage and we don't have the resources to respond.
Right.
We have to be a little more careful when they do it, girls. Okay, Doomfist is isolated. All we need to be doing is damaging Doomfist right now. Only thing I should be doing. Don't want to give him a punch, forcing Doomfist back out. And they kind of just walked with the melee up there, which is fine. But, you know, say they didn't kill those people at the melee. Well, the Doomfist should end up dying if we, you know, pivot on the Doomfist instead, because those guys are forced way out because of that melee. Alright, force this Genji out. Okay, they used Coalescence, we back up now. We use an ult, and now we're back then. Alright, we're disengaging right here, you see?
Yep.
Cannot believe I didn't kill that soldier, not gonna lie.
My ultimate is ready.
Sombra's touching.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Be very surprised if we could pull this back somehow. Yeah, you know, we have to recontest when we are not grouped up. It's not ideal.
Meteor strike.
So with ranked, is it best out of 3?
Score
Yeah.
1.
It's the same as a casual for this mode.
Got it.
Alright, this round, I'm actually hitting my shots. It's actually gonna happen.
A battle's end calls for meditation, not games.
I get it. Everyone's scared to take on the best player in the world.
Fine, I'll go.
I do think that I'm taking too much damage right now though. And I think because of that, my Ana's having to heal me, and you know, my Diva's getting forced back because she doesn't have those heals. So I'm gonna try to play a little more passive, play some more cover, and really just focus on playing a more passive poke phase, and then getting aggressive when I need to be diving. Alright, I actually just got rolled. Oh, good. Yeah, it's crazy. Like in this lobby, the second you step into like some open space, right, you're just gonna get beamed down. Like even if it's just the Ana.
Right. Is there any reason to crouch in this game?
Yeah. You know, just to avoid, you know, critical hits on you more often, but most of the time it doesn't really matter. Say, you know, if you're playing against a hero that gets more value from kill hits like a Widowmaker would, then like you can throw more crouches. Wow.
Oh, almost got it.
That's rough.
I'm under attack.
Lots of ults, lots of ults.
Your tank switched to Zarya, huh?
Yeah.
Life protects life. What we want to witness. looking drowsy.
I don't like how they hit their sleep darts. I'm not a fan. Okay. So that was a Grandmaster game again.
Take cover.
That was a great job, man. That was really good too to see it in action after.
Yeah. So you can see the value I get of, you know, taking these, you know, these engagements where I can close the distance without losing resources, right?
Right.
And, you know, during my poke phase, I'm focusing on not taking damage so that my team can get these resources. Yeah, this Ana is hitting every sleep dart. You know, good job to him. Yeah, so it's just the same ideas that I was doing in quick play, just faster paced and, you know, much harder to actually execute because people are always getting values out of these cooldowns. It feels like, you know, every sleep dart, right? Like I gotta use it as a deflect or I gotta bait it out, right? Whereas in quick play, I can just like, oh, I double jumped and I dodged it, you know?
Right.
So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks again. Thanks for everybody who tuned in live and for those that are joining the stream later. But this is our first deep dive into Overwatch characters with Genji. I will post a link in the comments here of where to go find Coach Theory if you have an interest in coaching for you as an individual or you as a team or whatever. He has a couple different packages from $10 to $30 depending on kind of what you're looking for. And also, just as a highlight, we're giving away 3 of the $10 packages to people who comment on this video. So again,
yeah, if anybody's, you know, interested in anything like that, I would be very excited to, you know, just help you learn the game and get better.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Look forward to more of these videos. Feel free to leave a comment too if you have a thought on the next either support or tank you would like to see a video on. And Coach Theory can go through those. Otherwise, we'll let him choose. But other than that, thanks again for tuning in to my channel and for the collaboration with my nephew, Coach Theory. And yeah, anything else, Coach Theory?
No, yeah. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to, you know, showcase what I know about the game. And yeah, if you guys want any specific heroes, just, you know, just let us know and we will do them.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to call it. So everybody have a good one and see you on the next